Hello, so in this video I'm going to be sharing with you my experience of the 75 Hard Challenge, which I underwent at the beginning of this year. And it's fair to say that during this challenge I experienced some of the most dramatic changes to my physical appearance. I really still cannot quite get over it. So if you haven't heard of the 75 Hard Challenge, then it is a 75-day mental toughness challenge. It's not something that you have to pay for or sign up to or anything. It's something that you can just do. There are lots of Facebook groups, etc., and there is an app that you can buy actually that can help, but you don't have to do any of those things. So I also really like the fact that this was free, because I started this when I was 3 months postpartum, following the birth of my third baby. So on maternity leave, didn't have a lot of spare cash to be investing in my health and fitness. So the reason why I chose the 75 Hard Challenge was because I really liked the kind of fitness element of it. I wanted to focus at this point in my health and fitness journey on the fitness aspect rather than the weight loss aspect, because I was 3 months postpartum. I wanted to go easy on myself, really, not set myself any kind of crazy weight loss goal so early on in my journey. I had set myself a weight loss goal for the year. I wanted to lose 40 pounds by the end of the year, but I didn't want to set myself a goal for weight loss during this challenge. The challenge is not a weight loss challenge. You do not have to lose weight when you do the challenge. You can do the challenge for fitness reasons or for the mental toughness aspect of it, just for having completed it. So for the challenge, for 75 days, you have to drink a gallon of water every day. You have to take a progress picture every day. You can't have any alcohol, and you have to stick to some sort of diet, but it doesn't have to be a weight loss diet. So just something you have to stick to and not have any cheat days. And also you have this fitness element, which is kind of the biggest element. So you have to do 2 lots of exercise a day for at least 45 minutes each time. They can't be consecutive, so you can't do an hour and a half in one go. You've got to do them separately, and at least 1 lot of exercise has to take place outside. So again, for the exercise, you don't have to take up running, you don't have to go to the gym, you don't have to do anything in particular. You could do yoga for each lot. You could do 2 lots of yoga a day. You could walk. Both of the lots of exercise could be walking. And again, this really appealed to me because I was starting at a point where my fitness level was on the floor. I had no fitness level. I was out of breath if I walked quickly. So I started with walking, and most of my exercise during the 75 Hard Challenge was actually just walking. I also did some YouTube exercise workouts. So I'm not a member of a gym. I hate a gym. I've never enjoyed going to a gym, tried it in the past. And also at this point, of course, I'm starting with a 3-month-old, 3 young children. I don't have the time to go to a gym. I don't really have the time to go to an exercise class, and it's hard to juggle that with the kids anyway. So I had a yoga mat, and I decided that putting the yoga mat out and doing some YouTube workouts, that was the best way forward. I followed some from Lucy Wyndham Reed, found those really good, and I also did a lot of Grow with Joe's workouts, and they were really, really fun. So really mostly walking and some YouTube workouts. I found that obviously at the start you've got a lot of motivation, haven't you? You start something, started off strong. I decided for the diet element that I would devise my own diet plan because I was breastfeeding, because it was really important to me that I didn't do anything which resulted in dramatic weight loss and therefore impacted on my milk supply. So I knew I needed to keep my fats up, healthy fats up. I knew I needed to space food out through the day. I didn't want any dips in my blood sugar levels, but also I wanted to tackle my sugar addiction. I have quite a serious sugar addiction. I don't think I really had this before having children. I blame pregnancy with my first child for this, but it has remained. And I was having quite a lot of processed sugar every single day. There wasn't a single day where I wouldn't have chocolate, sweets, or cake, and usually I would have multiple lots of those things, starting in the late afternoon and particularly in the evening. A lot of snacking, mostly on sugary things, but also quite partial to some crisps too. So all the bad things. So I wanted to use this challenge to help kick that sugar addiction. So I came up with my own kind of diet plan, and that was a kind of clean eating, if you like. I was also mindful of the fact that I have small children and I had to be sensible, and there would be times where I might need to lean on convenience food. So I set myself the parameters basically of clean eating as much as possible. Convenience food had to be on the healthier side where it was needed. So if I needed to get a ready-made meal, then it had to be made kind of from scratch and just frozen rather than be full of rubbish. no takeaways, no chocolate, sweets and cake. So during this period of time, I thought it was best to just go like cold turkey and not have the naughty stuff, at least for the first few weeks. So 3 weeks I had nothing in terms of processed sugar, and then I allowed myself a little bit of dark chocolate. And mostly I discovered at this point, because I have such a sweet tooth, I thought let's replace it with some of the fruits that I enjoy, but also medjool dates and dried dates, and they're quite high in sugar, but I figured that this was going to help me cut out the processed sugar, cut out so much of the sweets and chocolate that I was having by replacing it with something that was sweet that I really like, but it fell into the kind of healthier bracket. So I know what people say, that dried fruit still got lots of sugar, and yes it does, but it's better sugar for you than having like a family size bar of chocolate, or in my case a family size bag of Maltesers. And it worked for me. At the end of the day, it really worked. So one of the things I most enjoyed about the 75 Hard Challenge was this changing in my thinking, in my behaviours, in my habits, in my eating habits. I really enjoyed the water. That was a shock. I didn't think it would be hard to drink a gallon of water because I was breastfeeding. It was super thirsty breastfeeding. So I didn't think that would be hard, but I drink a lot of squashes and cordials, or at least I did. I actually haven't even bought a bottle of squash or cordial for months now, but we're not drinking it at all in the house now. And I think that's really good for my kids, because my boys, who are now 5 and 3, they quite enjoyed having squashes as well, because they saw me drinking them, they would try them, then they wanted them instead of water. And now we've got to a point where we're all just drinking water mostly. So I always have my water, and I didn't find that a bit hard. I know some people find that hard. Didn't find the water hard, didn't find the food element hard, didn't find the alcohol hard, because I don't drink masses anyway, but I had a very young baby, so I wouldn't have been drinking loads. So I didn't find any of that hard. January, I wasn't going out a lot really, so I didn't feel like I was missing out. Of course you can go out, but it's easier, I think, for me certainly, to start with. I found it easier not having like a busy social life. What I did find hard was doing 2 lots of exercise in a day. I really feel like if it had been 1, I would have stuck to it for longer. That was the biggest challenge for me, having a young baby, and I would get the first lot of exercise in really early in the day. So I was walking, most days I'd walk my son to school. I'd have the baby in the carrier, so I'd have that bit of extra weight to carry, and I would walk him to school, and then instead of going home, I would carry on walking. So I'd walk a longer route. I found this is great, like for my mental health as well, getting outside in the morning for some fresh air, getting the endorphins going, getting the blood pumping. And I was just walking. I was aiming for as kind of, not maybe a brisk walk, it wasn't a slow walk, it wasn't a speed walk, somewhere in the middle. So I was aiming not to be particularly out of breath, but to feel like I was working out a little bit by the end of it. Really enjoyed this, really enjoyed the walk. But again, that second workout in, oh my goodness, that was hard. And some days I was up until late, running on the spot around the house, or if I hadn't done the outside walk that day, there were a couple of days where I hadn't done the outside walk early in the day, then I'd be jogging on the spot outside, and my husband, bless him, came and joined me one day and was like, oh, are you sure about this? What are you doing? But ultimately, he seemed to be really proud of me. I was really proud of myself, and I felt so much better for the challenge. But I only made it to 6 weeks. But in 6 weeks, there was such a dramatic transformation in how I looked and how I felt. And so many of the habits have stuck with me now, drinking water being one of them, less sugar. So I have some processed sugar. I've not become some kind of clean eating goddess during this journey, and this is still real life, right? It has changed my life. I do feel like this year so far, this last 9 months, has really changed my life. And the 75 Hard Challenge, I would recommend it to anyone if you're thinking about it. Really enjoyed it, and I will be completing this in the future. I just really found it hard. I think we got to the point when my baby was 4.5 months. She was well into the sleep regression. I wasn't getting a lot of sleep, and I was finding that hard, because sometimes I was thinking, well, I've got to go out and exercise, I've got to do another 45 minutes, when really what I needed to do for myself was go to bed. And I had to acknowledge that. I got to the point where I had a couple of days I didn't manage to do 2 lots of exercise in a day, and then I just had to say, okay, 6 weeks. What a transformation. I felt so much better. And it had been such a good kickstart to my year of improving my health and fitness. So in those 6 weeks, I lost 12 pounds, but the change physically was massive. So I think that was a combination of the exercise together with eating healthier and losing the 12 pounds. But I don't think if I hadn't been doing the exercise, the 12 pounds would have maybe made that dramatic a difference. I just can't see how it could, but 12 pounds and the difference was just unreal, particularly around my stomach and around like my back. So the difference there was just unreal. So pleased. Really enjoyed it. Like, I genuinely enjoyed it, and when I got to the point where I was finding it too hard and wasn't enjoying it anymore, then I stopped. So the thing with the 75 hard challenge is that if you miss any one element, you forget to take your progress picture. Also, I don't know if I mentioned, you had to read 10 pages of a non-fiction book a day. So if you didn't read your book, you didn't do your progress picture, you missed one lot of exercise, or you had some alcohol, you didn't stick to your diet plan, whatever that may be, you had a cheat day on food, then you had to start again from day one. And there's absolutely no way that mentally I could start again from day one by that point when I got like 6 weeks in. So although that said, I think there's something to say with setting yourself a goal, a big goal like that, and like 2 lots of exercise in a day, that if you're not doing that second lot of exercise, you've still done 45 minutes of exercise. And if you're doing that every single day, like for me personally, somebody who wasn't doing any consistent exercise when I started that challenge, that is a lot. And I think that if you can get your head around that, I know that some people talk about doing the 75 soft challenge, so their own version, which is not quite as strict as the 75 hard challenge. But I think for me, like if I tell myself, oh, you don't have to do 2 lots of exercise, then maybe I won't do the one. Whereas in that 6 weeks, I made so many changes, so many healthy changes, and I felt so good for it. So there we are, that's my roundup of the 75 hard challenge. I will 100% be completing it in the future. It's like a thing now, like I will not be defeated. I think maybe January of next year, I will start again. If you are interested, you're thinking about doing the 75 hard challenge, drop me a comment, let me know, and I will cheer you on, absolutely cheer you on. If you enjoyed this video, you got anything out of this video, please give me a like, it really does help, and consider subscribing for more content from me. This channel is all about my health and fitness journey, so sharing all of the things I am doing to change my body, whether that be weight loss, whether that be fitness, or my general kind of outlook and attitude towards it all. This is all of the things health and fitness here. So if you're interested, please subscribe. I would love to have you along for the journey, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!